Good to hear
And
that.
just like that, we're live on the air, I think. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. Glad you're here. We got a great show lined up. I know it says open topic. It's not really open topic because we're going to talk about Todd and Ripman's trip to Colombia tonight. So we're he took they both took a free flight trip in Colombia during the best part of the year for Colombia, and got some awesome flights. They got some good stuff. So we're gonna find out about their stories. We're gonna share a little bit of Rip's footage of his trip, maybe even a little bit of Todd's footage. I think both of you guys posted videos or some kind of stuff that we can glean off of while you're telling your stories. And so glad you're here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it already. If you're interested in supporting the show, you can do that on Patreon or PayPal. There's links in the description. And I want to mention a couple sponsors. One of those is Harley Milne. He runs a school here in Southern California. That school is called dreamlifterparamotors.com. Dreamlifterparamotors.com. And if you go there, you want to sign up for some training, he's going to help you to get some cross country flying, maybe adventure flying stuff, or even world record type stuff. He'll give you the training that you need to be able to do that. Go sign up for his training. Also, want to mention PPG Smoke. Ryan Roberts is the head of PPG Smoke, made all kinds of cool stuff for us. Go check out his website, see what he's got to offer there. And you're really going to enjoy the things that he's made. He put a lot of effort into it. Check out Paramotor Props. If you accidentally blow up a prop, no better place to get a new prop than paramotorprops.com. Go to their website, quickly make your selection, and they will ship out your new stuff really fast. It's awesome. I love working with those guys, and they're a support of the show. They've been a part of the show from the very beginning. If you can support them, you will be pleased. So thank you guys so much. Rip is at a fly-in, so thank you, Rip, for making the time to come. Todd is a very busy man, and so he made time for us. And I'm pretty sure that he had to fend off his wife, who's wanting to take his attention, but I don't know what he did. He probably had to tie her up or something just so he could come on the show. So thank you, Todd. I really appreciate you making time for the show.
Well, Robert, let me tell you, it's a pleasure to be here again. And for the first time, I feel like I'm on the paragliding
You
talk.com
are,
show
you literally
as a
are.
paraglider, not a paramotorist.
That's right.
I mean,
You
I've done some
literally
free
are.
flying, but this was Ripa's idea. He invited me to go down there because he went last year. Um, so let him tell you how and why he hooked up with the guys that we went together with. And I am recommending that anybody transitioning from motor flying to free flying and anybody that's anywhere underneath the competition level recreational free flight paramotor guy or paraglider guy, go down there in January or February of next year. Plan it now. What do you think, Rip?
It looks
Uh, I-
amazing.
I'll tell you what, the conditions are real easy for your first couple times being, free flying, jumping off the mountain. It's not crazy air. The thermals are kind of smooth. They're not sharp and punchy. So it's definitely a good place to go.
Is this is your second time going, Rip?
Yeah. Yep. So my buddy Tim Garvey and Dominic Petrano turned me on to it last year. They said, come on down. It's a good group of guys. Um, you'll have a good time. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And I went down there and it was such a tight group. I really enjoyed everybody that was there. There was no drama. We flew 2, 3 times a day, every day. We saw some sights around the areas and it was a great trip. So of course, this year I wanted to go back again. I'm like, I got to take Todd there. Todd's gonna love it. And yeah, I made it happen. I also invited my friend Steve Cry, Nelson's Wings on YouTube. I've been friends with him on YouTube probably 6 or 7 years, and I know he's been
I
itching to
saw
do
him.
a flight. So yeah, he came out too. So it was kind of good. I had a couple of my buddies there, and really enjoyed this trip. It was a really good one.
Was he
Tons of
flying
fun.
the
Hey, there's
photon?
Yes, he was flying the Photon.
And what was he saying about that?
He's flown it before. He likes it. He was going to bring two gliders, but he ended up just bringing the Photon.
That is awesome. Yeah, I remember when, because we both kind of climbed up the ranks. He was Nelson's Wings. He was
Right.
his first channel was Buzz Z05. And
Correct. Yep.
he was commenting on my videos in the very beginning, and he'd be like, "Hey, you if you take a rap, you're gonna end up handcuffing yourself. Don't put your hands through the
That's right.
through the
Yeah.
stirrups and all that stuff." And so he'd always have these comments, and sometimes we go back and forth. We were both fairly new, but we kind of uh, came to
And that's kind
paragliding
of how
at
I
the same
became
time.
friends with Steve as well. The same type of thing, we went back and forth with the comments. So, and he's a pretty
Such a cool
knowledgeable
guy.
guy. Yeah, he's a knowledgeable guy.
Yep. He's
So
made a couple trips out this way.
let me tell you
Serious.
something, Robert. I had ordered a new glider for this trip back in November.
There he
Oh,
is.
what'd you get?
I bought the new Mac Para Verve, which is a two-line glider,
No
and
kidding.
Two liner C to compete
it's a
with
two
all the other two liner C's out there.
two line C, very similar to all other two line C's out there, but it didn't make it in time for the trip. So I ended up going with my old glider. But a week and a half before the departure, I took delivery of a brand new pod harness, also a Mac Para product called the Haven. And
Okay.
I really liked the Haven sitting in the simulator, which was basically two ropes hanging from my garage door actuator. And I had no clue until I got down there that my glider and the new harness and all of my electronic gear weighed almost as much as a paramotor setup
Yeah.
did. I mean, I was literally blown away at how heavy my pack was. And
Yeah.
to be fair, I've got a great big canvas backpack that fits both the a wing and a harness and all the and a helmet and all the electronic stuff. And just packing that big canvas bag, rolling that thing up and shoving it in the back of the harness, it's a heavy package. So I jump off there for the first launch, and I find myself on a very painful sled ride to the bottom. Um, I couldn't find any lift my first couple flights. I think I did 3 flights on day one, and they were all relatively quick sledders to the bottom. I was pretty disappointed because I wasn't finding thermals, and the launch sites throughout the day, because we would move a little bit. The launch sites became more and more challenging,
Oh,
and
really?
further from the designated LZ, and I just couldn't hook up 2 thermals together, and I was bottoming out. I was pretty darn disappointed, and I was blaming the harness, which isn't really fair. My all up weight is right at the limit of that 30-meter
But that
Eden
shouldn't be a
7.
problem. That shouldn't be a problem.
It shouldn't be a problem, and it got in my head that was the issue, because everybody else was like, at 75 or 80 percentile, and I was at 100 percentile. And I'm thinking, darn it, if I was only at 75 percentile, I'd be up there in the sky with those guys still, instead of down here having a soda. So
Where are you at on your weight range?
100%,
Oh, right at the top.
right at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll experience the most dynamic flying that you can with your setup flying at the top. But it's really important to also try to talk to people who fly that setup and find out where that wing likes to be flown. Did you do any research on that and see what that particular wing likes?
No, I did it like I've done everything else in this sport. I figured it out on my own.
Send, yeah.
Do a little hard knocks.
Send it
Yeah.
or bend it.
But I'll tell you what, man, by the third day, I hooked up with some thermals, and I had a very lengthy thermal session. And so here's my recommendation to anybody that's considering a trip like this. And I don't care if it's the Alps or Australia or Colombia or Peru or wherever you want to go, that's not your home flying spot. I didn't expect to get a lot of culture. I had read a little bit that the food was hit or miss, and that was pretty much spot on. I didn't find myself distracted by ancient ruins or any wonderful, majestic, touristy sites in Colombia there. It was just about the flying for me. And I concentrated on it. And by day 3, I was hooking up with thermals. And day 5, the last day that I flew, I blew all of my own personal bests out of the water. Longest flight aloft, longest distance, and highest climb above launch.
What was your what'd you top out at?
Only 8,200 feet.
Only?
But, we started at 5,900 feet, and I think, what was the valley floor down there, John, at the hotel? Maybe
three and change or something?
Or 2,900 or 3,100 feet or something like that.
Wow, so
But
I got in the white room a couple times, Robert.
no kidding.
Yeah, I had a speed bar out of there.
Did you put the little globe compass?
Yes, I did have the compass.
oh,
What about
John,
you?
I still have your extra compass, John. I need
Well, I
to
gave
return
that
it to you.
I gave Todd a compass so that if he goes into the white room, he know where he is. But
Yeah.
I don't know if he used it or not.
It looked like there
Didn't
were a
need it.
couple days that you were going to be hitting cloud base. It looked like there
Yeah,
was
no, pretty
multiple
much
days.
every day, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Wow.
When it goes off 11:30 after 11:30, it's anybody's game out there. You want to go wherever you want to go, you can go.
How was the air? Choppy? Was it scary? What'd you think?
Todd?
I exited a couple thermals on the backside and had one 50% collapse.
Oh,
And I
50.
got it on video, and it's a B wing that I'm flying, and it recovered as quick as I could look up. I mean, I pretty much heard it, and by the time I looked back up, the wingtip was reinflated, and that only happened one time. So
Yeah,
So
that means
so
you're actively piloting.
so I was flying the Bonanza 3 and I'm light on it, and I took 2 pretty good frontals, but like I knew the wing was hanging back and I knew it was going to shoot. That wing's accelerates very fast. I knew it was coming, so I just buried the brakes. And the wing did frontal, but I was able to bury the brakes, and I saw the trailing edge was bent more than the front of the wing was, and it recovered beautiful. So, and that happened twice.
And what were you flying, Rip?
The Bonanza 3, the Gin Bonanza 3,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's that
That's a
2-liner
spicy
C.
meatball. Yep,
Yeah,
that's a good
but
wing.
but, but rock solid. I was impressed with it. They're coming out with the Camino too. I'm actually going to get the lightweight fabric. I'm going to try to lighten my whole setup because, like Todd said, that backpack is so heavy and throwing it over your shoulder, 3 times a day, 6 times a day, and in the morning, it's a lot of weight to carry on. So I'm going to go lightweight harness with a blow up airbag, and I'm going to go with a light fabric glider, trying to get my pack down, 5 or 10 pounds for
What are
sure.
you flying at on your wing loading?
I was at the bottom. I was super light. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
So, same question for you. Did you do any research on what that glider likes to be flown at?
I watched, a lot of videos on whoever flew it. The guys from Fly Bubble and stuff did some research on it. So, it probably would have been better to be. I'm probably going to buy a size smaller in the Camino too, because like I said, I'll be lightening my gear. Because I fell
Yep.
right in the middle of the 2 sizes. I mean, literally right in the middle. So it was either
Okay.
flying a little over or flying on the light side. And I figured with some ballast, I could get myself where I needed to. And I did. I packed
Yep.
quite a bit of water. I took 3 liters and 3 bottles of water. So I probably had 8, 10 pounds of water with me. So
Did you guys end up landing out in any kind of extreme cases where you're like, man, I got a long walk?
I got 2 stories, and let's hear what Todd's got first.
So my first, the big, we had a guy that was with us that was really good at laying out slightly below competition level tasks. So he'd put them together on his phone in the morning, and he would let us all read the QR code, and we could look at the tasks. And they were all challenging, but not extreme. They were in the local area, and they took us from the launch to a cylinder somewhere, and typically over the hotel. For me, after having sunk out for the first 2 days, my sole goal was to land at the hotel. And the night that I tried to push for it, the first night that I tried to push for it, I got up to about, everybody told me that 7,100 feet was the altitude. And then you still might need to catch one more thermal on the way to the hotel.
Wow.
So I see this cloud street running down toward the hotel. And I thought, all right, I'm at 6,900, 7,000 feet. I'm going to push forward. And I see gliders out ahead of me. So, and I figure there are guys, because there's probably 4,000 or 5,000 people in country right now paragliding there. And a lot of them coalesce into groups, a group of Germans, a group of Italians, a group of guys from the UK, us from the United States. And there's this valley is, I don't know, 80 or 90 miles long and probably 10 or 12 miles wide. And there's launch sites all over the east side, all the way up to Ronilio on into Medellin. And we were down at the southern end of the safe end of the valley where the ocean winds don't come crashing in there in the afternoon most of the time, right? They call it El Pacifico. And I'd read about it and heard about it. And so sure enough, I take off toward the hotel and I'm looking at it, and it's just barely a point of no motion on glide. And I'm listening on the radio because we had a common frequency amongst us. And some of our best guys and Ripa got right up to the hotel and bailed out and landed in this horse pasture that was filled with, 2-inch steel needle spike bushes.
You say horse pasture, I call it a sticker pasture.
It was unbelievable. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with these guys? Why didn't they push to the hotel? And as the story unfolded, the El Pacifico was coming over the eastern range down through the valley at floor level, and it was accelerating as it came down that hillside, and it sheared off and blew off all of the thermals that we had to work with.
It was excellent, and then it just stopped you dead in your tracks. And
the lower you got, the faster the wind gradient got to be, or the faster the wind blowing you back from making it to the hotel was. And I crossed over. I see Ripa on the ground right underneath me. I see the other dude that had been there, like, how many times has Brian been there? 14 times or something like that. Yeah. He's peeling off and he's landing by Ripa. I see another one of our buddies in the same field, but like one section road south. And I'm like, well, I still got 1,000-foot altitude. I think I can make it. And I'm on glide, and I'm messing with the speed bar. I'm trying to stay off the brakes. I'm trying to maintain a low drag profile. I'm laying back in the harness to minimize my drag. And I just see these power lines, and I'm not going to make it. I bail out. I fly over Ripa. I land over by Ron. And fortunately, I was able to kite my glider down without getting it into the sticker bushes. But that was, for me, that freed my mind of the concerns about landing out. There's 10-foot tall sugarcane almost everywhere. We had a guy land in a grape arbor. He thought it was a flat field, and it was all trained grapes up in this place. And being able to successfully make that landing for me opened my mind to saying, okay, I'm going cross country from now on. There's plenty of places to land. You just need to make the decision early. And it was a hike. I mean, Ripa's got footage of me walking back to the hotel only because he beat me to the hotel, but he did the walk of shame too, didn't you, John?
Yeah, but no one filmed it. That was good stuff.
It's not on film. It never happened.
Yeah. One of my flights, I bombed out, and I ended up having to land in this guy's farm. But when I got down low, I noticed that there was like corrals for the horses, and I had to land in between one of those corrals. And I thought, boy, I'm going to be in trouble here. And somehow, some way, I was able to land right in the middle of one of those corrals. And it was just a nice, soft landing. And the guy let me go in his overhang and fold up my glider. And then he threw me on the back of his motorcycle and took me back to the hotel. So that all worked out pretty good. But some of those afternoon flights trying to make it to the hotel, you got 3/4 of the way thinking you were easily going to make the hotel. And that wind came over the east side, and it just knocked you right down on the ground. I mean, 2 days in a row, I didn't make it to the hotel, and everybody else didn't either. It wasn't just me. So
are you guys landing and then walking to the hotel?
Well, the hotel has lobbied the local farmers every year, allegedly, to keep one good-sized field within a very short walk of the hotel free of new agricultural
Oh,
plantings.
wow.
So
That's cool.
so they rotated it apparently, and I don't know, I hadn't been there before, but from a different field. We had a nice, big, sizable, I don't know, what would you say, John? Probably an 80-acre section of land to land on
Oh,
there.
yeah, it was
maybe
huge. It was huge.
maybe 55 section. But we had a guy in our group get into the fence there and break his hand.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he had to leave
Yeah.
early.
Well,
He thought he was going to clear the fence, and then he wasn't going to clear it. He buried the brakes, and the wings stalled, and he fell back and tried to put his hand out to break the fall. And yeah, that
now
was my friend Dominic.
this field that you guys were coming, I mean, this looked like it was pretty close
So that's the
for
LZ.
Todd.
That's the main LZ, and Todd just looked like he cleared that too. He
Just
sunk
barely.
really fast there.
Oh, so close. But
Yeah,
you're in the
this
wind,
was
you
a
look like you're going
soccer
slow.
field, and this was walking distance to a restaurant that's very para-friendly. You know, in fact, not only did we use this as the main LZ, some of the competitions that came down from Rodanilio used this same field as their end of task, end of task place. But yeah, I had some gear setup issues the first day because you know, I'd only been in and out of this new harness in a simulator. I hadn't actually flown it, and my leg straps were too loose. I had a tough time getting in and out of the harness, and you know, here I'm running crosswind across the launch here, trying to run over the locals, and I was slung way down low, and I had to stow my brakes and push on the harness itself to get myself back up to be able to get into the harness. So I made the adjustment that fixed this problem. But I spent the first day screwing around with gear adjustments.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
brutal. That's good advice. If you can try to work out the kinks before you head out, because it'd be really frustrating to try to sort through this stuff if you can't get in and you got to try to land and you're in a foreign place. Oh, gross.
yeah. And you see this valley, or see, like I'm on the ridge line here, and this dirt road underneath my feet is the ride up to that launch number 7. And there's a couple times I ended up on either side of this ridge, and I did not think I was going to make it out of that valley. Fortunately, both times I caught lift down at the very, very low end of the valley and was able to make it to the LZ. But you know, you can't imagine the feeling when you go, uh-oh, I am going to end up in the trees or the power lines in this valley. I don't speak the language. There's nowhere to go, and fortunately, you know, both times at some point I caught just enough lift to get out of those valleys and back up over the ridge. But
Is that
this is
do they write stuff on the ground?
yeah, they do birthday parties, and you know, there's a virtual nonstop operation of tandem flights here, and
Oh, wow.
people buy, you know, like birthday flights or anniversary flights for their spouse or whatever, and they land right on what they've got written there to commemorate whatever the
Wow.
purpose of it was. But I mean,
That's
look
a
at all
good
the
idea.
gliders.
That's
And
the
off to
main
the
LZ
right,
right there. That's where
yeah,
most
off to
people
the
land.
right, there's that restaurant, and there's just hundreds and hundreds
Where's
of
Rip?
paramotor
Where's Rip
gliders.
filming? Where's he at?
Probably standing right at him.
So
That's funny.
He's right there somewhere. Because I saw this landing on your.
I always get him. I always get him coming in.
Here we go. Here's
That's funny.
here's Rip's perspective right here.
Hey, they fold your wing up for like $1 or $2. It's crazy.
I know that I was telling my boys about the kids here in Columbia and how they fold up the wings professionally. You just give them a couple bucks or you give them a soda and they're happy.
Yep.
yep. And everybody associated with the geography of this place is a paramotor pilot or a paraglider pilot.
That
You
is
know,
so cool.
I asked every one of those kids folding my wings up, and you think, oh, this poor impoverished young guy isn't going to have any.
Oops.
He's a paraglider. He's a tandem certified paramotor guy or paraglider guy.
That's crazy.
And he's out there folding my wing up for the equivalent of $1.2 US.
Yeah,
Wow.
hustlers. They see the you know, they see the people coming in. They know they can make some money. They're out there hustling.
One of the interesting things that I saw in the video, and I'm so glad that you posted those videos. By the way, if you can cue up the spinny wheel of Winnie things, Sean. One of the things that I noticed was the plethora of butt landings, even from the pros, guys that are flying two-liner
So you know
deep
what Todd
gliders,
says
top
about that?
wings.
I don't know if this is true, but Todd says the cord on those gliders are so thin that there's not enough flare, and that's why a lot of them come in. They just don't have any flare
I don't
authority.
think they have the pitch authority that a recreational glider with a lower aspect ratio has.
I
What do
mean,
you think about that, Robert?
my I have to argue that and I'm not a competition
These are
pilot, and I
CCC
do
gliders,
have a
though,
D
Robert.
wing.
These are CCC gliders, man. They're thin,
Yeah,
you know. I know
but
they all came in on their
still,
butt. I couldn't believe it either, but Todd said it's because the cord is so thin.
And I'll tell you, you know, as a recreational guy, if you got your sights set on being a competitive pilot, it's it's pretty brutal. I mean, what did we watch, John? We watched about 36 of those guys come in within the span of about 4
That's right.
minutes.
That's right.
And they're all flying these submarines, these high aspect ratio gliders. They all landed within about, 50 yards of each other. Nothing spectacular to write home about. And they packed up those gliders and they climbed onto a charter bus. And I thought, well, as soon as they get the last guy packed up, they're going to be heading back to Rodanillo, which is a 2-hour plus drive.
Todd, tell them how long that flight was.
They sat there in the sun, sweating their proverbial nuts off, and just wait. They never left to go back to Rodanillo. They were there after we were back at the hotel having dinner.
By the way, they were up in the air for 5 hours on that flight from Odinio to Pichinche.
That's just brutal.
That is brutal.
To what? Be able to claim that you took 5th place in a competition?
Well, you won first, but if that's all you got,
Well, there was 36 guys landed. There ain't no way that more than one of them got first place,
Right,
so if you get bragging rights for being number 10 in that competition, you're sitting on a broke down non-air conditioned bus in 100-degree heat waiting for the last guy to get in before you leave.
Yeah.
Brutal. Go ahead and dial up that wheel, Sean. We're going to give away some stuff. We actually we're going to give away the standard package, but I'm also going to throw a t-shirt in there that Gringo donated yesterday.
Is it a t-shirt?
It's a paramotoring
Warner
t-shirt.
Brothers t-shirt. No, it's not a Warner Brothers t-shirt. It's a
I love my Blossom t-shirt.
Here we go.
It's a shirt from Mark Gans. He's if you watch some of the Egypt flying, he just got back from Egypt when he went to Iceland, and he's going to Iceland again. But he gave me a shirt. It was pretty cool. It just doesn't fit me. It's a little too small. Can you believe it? I don't know.
The spin of this wheel is brought to you by
I'm not a tiny guy.
Calamity Kite Clinic. CalamityKiteClinic.com is the website. Go check them out. If you want to learn how to ground handle better, you can do that with Sean. He will teach you the ropes, no pun intended, the small ropes. You can learn how to ground handle, be better than the next guy, and improve your skills on the ground. You'll improve your skills in the air. It's really important to do that, and you will love it.
Come on, baby.
CalamityKiteClinic.com.
Oh, almost. Leah Catullo.
Leah Catullo. Congratulations. Winner, chicken dinner. Leah, please go to the website and paraglidingtalk.com/contact and just put in the contact form your address and I'll send you your winnings.
You have to send it to your current location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Qatar.
In Qatar. Yeah, that's got to be a little bit sketchy. By the way, I want to mention also Nebraska PPG, Josh Bowden. He's actually going to be coming on the show here in the next few weeks or so. But go check out his website and connect with him on Facebook. There's links in the description. And he's got a training facility that he uses there in Nebraska. Just a really good place, flat ground, nice green grass, and a great training that he gives for paramotoring. If you want to sign up for his training, follow the links and get a hold of him. You will be impressed. Well, then. So you guys ended up flying pretty much every day. That's a really big, important factor if I'm going to go fly somewhere out of state. If I'm taking the days off, I want to make sure I can fly every day. Rip came.
Well, there's a downside to that, Robert, and I'm gonna throw this one to Ripa because he's significantly older than I am. John, tell him how hard it was on your old body.
Let me tell
When
you,
it came,
three straight days is quite a bit of flying 3 times a day. It's it'll knock you out. I mean, you just get tired. I mean, I don't know if younger people do, but I know I did.
Gosh,
so
Todd, you're
Robert,
so brutal.
I face planted off the launch. I pulled my wing up reverse.
Hold on,
and
do you have this on video, Rip?
Yeah, Ripa's got it on video. He's
Did
got
you
it on
post
one
it?
of his videos. Yeah, it's out there.
Okay, good. Well, I'll
And-
see if I
and
can
I-
dial that up.
I got to that 45-degree or 38-degree lip and my wing was flat. I looked up at it and my brake lines were loose and everybody's yelling, "You got a good wing, you got a good wing, go." And I thought, all right, I'm in the shadow. You know how the wind blows up, and my wing was back in the shadow behind the lip. I had enough wind to get it up airborne up here, but when I got to the front, the wind was going vertical. And I thought, I'm just going to step down into the vertical component of the wind and run as fast as I can. And I pulled on the wing and it wadded up like a backflip 180, as our favorite guy says.
Oh,
and
man.
I tumbled face first. I broke my helmet. I hit my head so hard. I
Oh,
scraped
no.
up my leg. And the reason I'm not at the flying right now with Ripa is because my ankle's swollen up to about twice the size of my left ankle.
Oh, no. Was that towards the end of the trip?
No, unfortunately, it was like day 3.
He still
And
flew after that, though.
I flew that same day. I took a day off and then I flew 2 more days. But as time has gone by, my recovery from that injury at my advanced age is just taken forever. And even for a young guy, man, day 1 you're gung ho. Day 2 you got all of the butterflies out of your system. You're really ready to hit it. And by day 3, your body is physically tired. And the older you get, the more sore, the more tired, and it affects your decision-making process. I think, and I had planned long before the trip that I was going to fly for the first 3 days, and I was going to take Wednesday off, and then I was going to fly again on Thursday and Friday. And for the most part, I stuck with that plan, but the face plant on the end of day 3 did not make that process any better. It was pretty awful. So
I just previewed this launch. This was actually a good launch that you did right here. I like your tenacity. You got the guy hung up on the ground with your lines a little bit, and you're just like, you're fine.
Yeah, Todd just went. He didn't care.
Kite it up.
It's tight spaces, and these are the camera doesn't really show how steep it gets right there where I am. I mean, it's a pretty significant drop.
Yeah,
off.
my friend Steve, he rolled down that mountain. It's on my video.
Yep, I think it's on this one.
Yeah,
and
it is. I was just saying, he rolled down it.
Trying to launch a squadron of guys there is tough. If you want to fly with your buddies, right, to take maximum advantage of the 4 or 5 of you flying abreast and one guy finding the best portion of the thermal or a thermal at all, so that you can all kind of connect. It's tough in such a small piece of real estate to get 4 or 5 guys launched within a compressed time window. In such a small piece of real estate.
It's like Blossom on a weekend.
Yep.
How many guys were launching per session?
What was our
20?
group, Todd?
I think our group was 14 or 15 guys. But John made some friends from Italy. Were they from Italy, John? The guy with the pierced lip?
Yeah.
We went up to, on the subsequent relaunches. So typically what would happen is the morning launch, it was really tough to stay aloft for most people. So almost 80% of the people that would launch, unless they waited, if they launched early, they would end up down here in the LZ. And there's my face plant, Robert. This is it here, I think. You can see the wings just luffing. And I'm hearing Ripa go, 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 go. You got a good wing. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
He had a good wing. He didn't load the A's
Boink.
up. It frontal, then it fell back.
Oh, that was brutal.
There he is coming up.
Yeah,
I
the
got him
shoot,
walking up.
the shooting right there is what
Poor
got him.
guy.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him.
You needed an Arnold
That's a tough
Schwarzenegger with
one.
a shotgun.
Yeah, it looked like
you know,
it surged forward a little.
And it just, you know,
Yeah.
And
That's
it was loose, you know, and nothing was loaded properly. And we had a guy that was pretty critical of all the mistakes that everybody made, because he was genuinely concerned about everybody's safety. And he says, well, do you know what you did wrong there? I'm like, yeah, I absolutely know what I did wrong there. I stepped off the cliff edge without a pressurized wing.
But that little surge is what got you, and it's so quick, and it's something that you feel over time. I've done it myself, where you just go running into the hope zone, but that's so you can feel that with a paramotor, and I can't. When we're launching free flight, I can feel it, and then probably you didn't feel it. You're running and there's no pressure. It's almost like you have to abandon the mission.
But you look at this launch site here, and it's relatively uncrowded. This is late in the day. What do you think this was, John? About 4 o'clock?
3:34. Yeah, this is the
What
last
a beautiful
one we had.
launch.
But
Gosh.
when we were up here at noon or 12:30, there's not enough real estate to set your glider down out of its bag.
That dude scared me right there.
Yep.
The first time I watched that.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what he was doing. It's like
know,
messing around in
when-
his chair.
When the cycles would come up this hill and it was good, ideal launching conditions, what you'd see is like 2 or 3 rows of gliders launched, like 3 abreast. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we'd get 6 guys or 8 guys cleared off of the launch site. And then everybody else would start pulling their gear forward and setting up for the next cycle.
Who's that guy?
That's our friend Brian. I don't know if you can see in this video, but his reserve handle got caught
Yes.
on the sticker bush as the reserve popped out.
Yeah. Did it
And
actually
that is-
come up?
It didn't come undone. It just pulled all the rubber bands off. And then his glider landed in the trees, and it took us about an hour to get his glider out of the
Now,
sticker
I think
bush tree.
that's me. That's me. After
Yeah,
I'd
that's Todd
overflown.
going away from us, landing on this other side of that field.
Yeah.
Wait,
at the
what
same
what
time.
wing was that? It's like a blue wing.
Brian's wing or Todd's? Brian's
That
wing
look,
is a Delta
that's
4.
Todd's blue, and yeah, that is a Mac Para in it.
That's Todd.
Is this the longest hike right here?
No, it's not. It wasn't too far to the hotel. We just walked right out under the fence, and it wasn't too far. Not even a quarter mile.
Look at Todd. He's like,
I know.
I want my motor.
You have to hear my commentary. Is that Todd Falstead? Are you
Yeah.
doing the walk of shame?
I want my motor.
Uh,
Yep.
Oh, that's my Blair mustache bandana. That's my friend Steve. Oh no, that's Tom, the guy who organizes it. Tom McCormick out of New Jersey. He flies a Zeno.
So you know, here's what I would suggest if anybody's looking at joining on an existing group, or I think now, having been there one time, Ripa and I could put together a guided tour type trip and put it out there and say, hey, if you guys want to join us, you could. We're going these dates.
That'd be fun. We could do that.
And I'd really encourage that you not go down here alone, because if you have a problem, and I don't know, you know, we had 13, 14 guys in our little WhatsApp chat group or Signal chat group, whatever it was. If you land out and you're like a long ways from civilization and you have a problem, I don't think anybody's going to say, well, I'm not going to dinner tonight. I'm going to go help Todd. You're kind of on your own to get back. Now, once you get back to the hotel, you know, if you need a doctor or you needed to rearrange your travel because maybe you got hurt or you destroyed your equipment or something like that, you're going to have plenty of help. But your best bet for help immediately, like first aid and getting your glider out of a tall tree, is going to be the local people that you interact with after you land somewhere. And they don't, I'm not completely fluent in Spanish. I can pretty much order dinner and find the bathroom, and that's about it. So when it comes to the fringes beyond that, I'd have as hard a time as anybody getting it all sorted out.
It looks like you guys had just a blast. Anything to know about the weather? Was it hot, cold? Was it anything that you wish you would have did differently?
I took way too many long pants and protective type clothing.
I would say I
should've-
needed more bug spray. They got
A lot
me.
of bugs, huh?
The chiggers got me the first day, and they didn't get me last year till the last day. And man, they tore my legs up.
Mm.
So
Yeah, the
And-
insects are pretty brutal.
bug spray and suntan, protection, because it's really
Sunscreen.
hot there. Yeah, sunscreen for sure.
What were the
Yep, I-
temperatures like?
What was what?
95 on the valley floor where we're at, right where this landing zone is. This is the landing zone for the hotel. It's literally you hop a fence right where this guy is walking.
That's
and you
Jared,
go
by the
down.
way. Jared Sausagen.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So the
He's in
fence is
chat-
right
he's in
there.
the chat.
And you walk down to the hotel. It was maybe a 16th of a mile back to the hotel.
I know this guy. He had a rough year last year because the fire in Maui. This guy,
Ooh, wow.
yeah.
But it was 90, mid afternoon, it was 95 on the valley floor. Most of the time it was 80, 85 to 90 degrees and pretty high humidity. But just 1,000 feet up, it was significantly cooler.
What
And
I'm sure everybody wants to know, what do you think you spent on this trip to make it happen, to be
So-
comfortable?
everybody told me take $500 worth of Colombian currency. I said there ain't no way I'm going for 9 days with $500. I took $600 worth, and I ended up selling $150 worth of that currency to one of the guys that was staying longer. I couldn't
Nice.
spend it, and that was food, meals, tips, launch fees, pack up fees, lunch. It went on and on. I couldn't spend all that money.
Massage.
Hey, this is Todd landing right here.
Now, something that would help with the
That was a
jiggers
good
thing,
landing.
I do know that in certain areas the guys do a lot of free flying where there are a lot of chiggers, to wear pants and then have your socks go over your pants.
Yep.
So, and that keeps a double layer to keep them from getting in to getting at you. But yeah, there's nothing like getting ate up by bugs.
Oh, that was terrifying. Fell out of the sky. That's a butt landing. See, and those harnesses are not made.
Oh yeah,
to
that
hit the
guy had a
floor.
terrible landing. You had to see the harness that guy had. That was a comp harness. It was crazy.
Yeah, and to land like that, I have to question their
Well, it was
currency.
very rough landing, Robert. There, it was really popping the thermals. There was a lot of strong air coming through there. It was
Oh, yeah,
very
look,
rowdy.
He's getting
Yeah.
And
he's
nothing
getting
looks
blasted.
like a smooth glide.
That's our friend Brian again. Yeah, he was going up and down, but he finally landed. Jared says he spent 1,300 total. That's about what I spent total.
Were you
Yeah.
You're paying for other people's food? Todd was he's being stingy.
No. I didn't include the hotel costs with that. So I
Oh.
spent 450 US currency and about $900 on food, and then the airfare was like whatever it was, $650.
That's
So-
our friend Ted. He decided to try to kite his glider back and caught the flagpole, which is connected to a tree, and it's
Saw
freaking.
that.
It took him like an hour to
He-
get it out of there. He was so pissed.
He ripped his wing.
No, he didn't rip it. It just took forever to get out. He had to drop the flagpole, they had to pull a tree. It was a lot of work.
After Ripa left on Friday, I landed in this LZ, and everybody knew each other except for me, and they were all former world champion, world-class paraglider guys. The Venezuelan national champion 3 times in a row was there. There was 2 guys from the UK that claimed that they were, and they all knew. Oh man, I haven't seen you since whatever World Cup. And
That was
I
Steve.
felt like a noob there. Oh, that was
Which
Steve?
one was Steve? This one?
The blue
the
glide.
big-
I
oh, the
I
blue.
missed it. I'm the blue one. Yeah, I missed it. I wasn't looking.
Right there.
Ooh.
Yeah, tossed
Blank.
around 5 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
Mitch says no more like and
Yeah,
subscribe.
he told me don't write like and subscribe at the end of my videos, Mitch G. So I stopped doing it.
Mitch is a hater. Don't listen to him.
No, he's a good guy. So any other questions for Falstead or me?
Were there any other injuries besides the hand thing that happened?
Todd?
We had
Just
that
Todd's
guy
injury.
that we had a guy land in the grape arbors. Did he get hurt, John?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, the from 1,000 feet, it's deceiving where you can land. You can land in the sugar cane if it's only like 2 months old. But
Well,
if
you
it's
got to
6
land on the roadways, the pathways between the sugar cane.
Yeah.
So,
When that stuff's 6 months old, it's 10 foot tall. You
oh
land
yeah,
in the
you don't
middle
want
of
to
the
land
sugar
in
cane
that.
field.
No, that's
You're gonna
brutal.
get hurt. We had a couple guys get chased by cows, and when Ron and I were walking back to the hotel, the lousy quarter of a mile that we walked back, there was a bull on the loose in one of these neighborhoods, and they were the local guys that either owned the bull or wanted to corral the bull were riding around trying to coerce the bull to go one way, and he wanted to come after us. So we just sat on a wall. Yeah. We just sat on a wall and waited till all that drama went by.
Oh, that is terrifying. And no camera.
Yeah, I got camera footage of that. Yeah.
You do. You got some camera footage of the bull coming to chase you guys?
Well, he didn't chase us. We
Oh.
were walking down the street and we saw him go parallel, and he stopped and did that bull thing where they go, I think I want to charge that way. And the dude rode up on the motorcycle and got between us and the bull and coerced the bull to continue perpendicular to our path.
That is crazy.
But the Colombian people were real nice. I want to add, if you can get some type of communication with them, the ones that didn't speak too much English, they were really nice. I mean, they'd do anything for you. Like I said, that guy let me fold up my glider under his overhang, and then he took me back on the motorcycle. He didn't want any money, but I gave him some anyway. I mean, they're a good.
I never
people.
had a bad experience with a local on a personal level, not even close. They're very, very congenial people, and in spite of the language barrier, I think we were pretty well welcome there, wouldn't you say, John?
I think so. Yeah, they understand we bring a lot of commerce and money, so they're happy to have us.
That's a really important part of the whole operation, whether it's Colombia or going into some of the bigger fly-ins in Mexico. I mean, I personally think that what's the other place? Gosh, there's one that they do where the cartel got involved a little bit, and they had the road blocked off, and the mayor shows up, and they couldn't have the competition until they sorted through. I want to say it was in Valle de Bravo, but I could be wrong. But I heard something interesting, and this probably is not sure how true it is, but for all the 20 people that are watching tonight, they said that the cartel is actually not the bad guy in most cases. Like if you go to Puerto Vallarta or Cabo San Lucas, the Rocky Point, the cartel is actually in the place of what we would be comfortable with as the normal government. And the people that are actually catching you on the road and robbing you or stealing your things are just kind of lone wolf, one-off little gangsters or whatever, just bad guys. And if the cartel finds out that you're messing with their money, which Americans coming in are spending money and giving it to them basically, because they're the ones that run the hotels and they're the ones that are taking care of housekeeping and the food and all that stuff. They're actually keeping the riffraff at bay. And I heard that. I never thought of that, but it makes sense. So sometimes we're, praying against the wrong people or whatever. But yeah, it's interesting. Huge economy for them during the flying season, I imagine.
Which is year round, they say, right, Todd?
I think it's important to mention our social visit with Chris Wheeler. I don't know if you guys have been following him he
My dog is
posts as,
choking.
my
Yeah.
dog is choking there on YouTube, and we crossed paths. We flew with
Nice.
Chris one day. We hung out with him in the LZ one day, and then we had dinner with him one night. Apparently, John, we didn't make the cut to get on one of his videos.
But so
I didn't even see him have the camera out the whole time. Anytime I saw him, I didn't see him have the camera out once.
Yeah, me neither. But
he
you know,
was on the
started
motorcycle a
out-
lot.
Yeah, he started out doing that motorcycle trailer repair series, and then I see he ditched the trailer here in his recent videos. But he mentions that he got together with friends. I'm assuming that was us and the people we had dinner with that night. But he does a real good job of some insight into how the cartels help and hinder the local economy there in various areas of Colombia. You know, the area that we were flying in, it was explained to me by our. So this is pretty important too. We had a local fixer that our guy that organized the trip has known for a long time. His name was James, I think.
Correct.
And he took care of most of our transportation to and from the airport. Anytime there was an issue with communication, he was pretty close by to step in there and help up with that. But on the way back to the airport, it was just he and I, and he was explaining to me that the southern portion of the country is where the cocaine is grown, or the coca leaves are grown, and the northern part of the country is where all the coffee is grown. And even coffee, and probably the coffee that we buy every single day for our house, an awful lot of it comes from Colombia, and it's sold through something called the Federation. And the Federation, Chris does a real good job explaining this. The Federation doesn't allow for independence. So even if you're like a coffee farmer that has a prime piece of land and great ag techniques, and you produce the highest quality coffee in all of Colombia, you can't sell it for any more than the price of the lowest common denominator of coffee grown in the country because of the cartel, the Federation. And I thought it was pretty interesting that, you know, a lot of their agriculture is governed by those style of one tier below government and one step above corruption for getting those products to market, whether it's coffee, cocaine, or sugar cane, or whatever it is.
What a trip.
Yeah.
I see. I just now caught the garden farmers in the chat, and he was on that trip with you guys. That's Jared Sosgen. He's got a pretty cool Instagram channel that I follow him on. I mean, he's been a part of the show. He's the one who actually sent me a package of seeds. Super cool.
That's right. Yeah.
Love that thing, man. It's like this little secret thing I have in a protective box inside of a fire safe. It's like one of those things. You just kind of in the
Those are
background. You
heirloom
never know.
seeds too. Those aren't
Yeah,
genetically engineered seeds.
exactly. Yep. Yeah, I talked to him not too long ago. Somebody was asking me if I could get them a package, and I can't remember what we talked about. Yeah, man. Want to mention a couple sponsors real quick. If you want to do an SIV clinic, you can do one with Max Marion at maxacro.com. That's the website. I did mine with him. It was incredible. Sign up for what's going to be coming in the summer. You're going to have an incredible time. Also, if you're in the state of Texas, Ron from Lone Star Paramotor would love to have you. He's doing training classes, signing people up as we speak. Go check out his website at lonestarparamotor.com. And if you're in the donating business and you're looking for that tax write-off, you can donate to Todd Scandritt's organization, which is called Resurgence PPG. They are 501c3. Support your men and women of uniform. You can make a tax-deductible donation. When you're doing that, you're supporting our men and women of uniform, and it is just an incredible cause. Sign up to support them. It is just a super cool thing to do, and you'll likely change some people's lives. It's hard to find places where you can invest money and actually help people these days, but that is one place that you can surely do that. And so, yeah, Pretty cool stuff. You'll see links in the description, also links in the chat. And thank you for putting those up, Anthony Peregrino. One last question about the trip. What was the duration of the trip? Do you do 1 week, 2 weeks? What do you recommend?
For me, 1 week is more than enough. I think 5 days flying and then 2 days traveling is really good. I mean, again, I'm a little older, and 3 times a day for 5 days is a lot of flying. I mean,
You did that with
Yeah,
us, didn't you?
yeah, it was my birthday.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. To a lot of the guys talked about bringing their wives, and they all kind of universally agree this isn't a trip your wife would enjoy.
Nah, there's nothing for her to do while you're flying all day.
I mean, there's 4 swimming pools at the hotel. They all look the same. There's nowhere in town to shop. There's nothing. Like I said, the food was hit or miss. I had a couple good meals. I had a couple horrible meals. And it's just not a wife trip. It's a guys going paragliding, and we had gals, so it's gals that are into paragliding can go. But if your wife's not into paragliding, this is not the place to take her. So
That's good
5
information.
days of flying and 2 days of travel. For me, my trip home was absolutely horrible. I made the mistake of buying air tags to put on my luggage, and I kept convincing myself that my luggage was still in the terminal building. We were taxiing out to the runway. And it took me, I cleared customs in Miami. It took me 2 hours of a 3.5 hour connection time to get through customs and immigration, reacquainted with my luggage, recheck everything, get back through security and into the terminal building. It was just miserable. And it kind of took the shine off the apple, but flying's changed. It ain't what it was in the 50s. It ain't what it was in the 70s. And
How
it
much
extracts a
traveling?
toll.
You said you did 2 days to get there?
Well, anytime I need to go through a commercial airport, the second I step foot into TSA's jurisdiction, that entire day is lost as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
I don't care if it's a 2 hour trip from San Diego to Phoenix or to San Francisco. It just ruins the whole day for me. It puts me in a foul mood, and I didn't like it. And going down, it was exciting because it was going to the place. Coming back, I didn't get back to the house here until 2 a.m. I'd been up since 2 a.m. I had 24 hours, and it was just brutal. But 5 days of flying in a row is plenty.
That's awesome. Guys, thank you so much for carving out some time for us. And paraglidingtalk.com is the website. Go check out some of the previous episodes. You will be impressed. There's some really fun, great lessons you can learn on paraglidingtalk.com. We're going to go to the after show. There's a link in the description. I'm going to let these guys in. You're welcome to come hang out. Love to hear more about the trip. I don't know if you can jump on, Jared. Love to talk to you. And anybody else, you guys are welcome to come join. And thanks for watching. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in the air. Have a great night.